Morgan, how are you doing
Hi, Jay. I'm doing good. I hope you are.
so far?
My question, I'm still such a newbie, and I hear all these people like, I have this many units, and I don't have any units yet, but I have a question about financing.
Okay.
I asked in the Facebook group, too. I had a couple people answer, but I want to know your perspective.
All
I'm
right.
in a situation where my bills are extremely low. I don't even have a full-time job right now. My living situation is very fortunate, and I'm wanting to go ahead and get started with short-term rentals. I've, obviously educated myself enough, and I'm prepared to get started, but I still don't understand the best way to go in terms of my financing. It's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that I can literally find investors to be able to start leasing out apartments. I mean, not apartments, the units. I just don't. Maybe I need to go back to the cash flow or the what is it? The other course about cash. Being able to find investors and great
Capital
capital.
creators is what
But
you're
I'm just
referring
not
to
really
there.
sure about somebody in my situation. What would you do to be able to get started the quickest? Because I was under the impression I needed to go get a full-time job, finance it that way and just get started that way. But if I can kind of shortcut that, I would love to know, how.
Interesting.
I hope that makes sense.
And so have you ever held an actual job then, or no?
Yeah, I have, but
Okay.
I basically I started like bartending and doing like little gigs and stuff, so I could kind of maintain myself. I hate 9 to 5. I just don't like having like somebody tell me where to be and what time. So I found other ways to make money to
Preach.
keep myself afloat.
So okay, then so that I can have context. Then how do you support? How do you eat today? Because food ain't free.
I had money saved up. I just was really smart with my money. I
Okay.
have help from certain people. Like I'll like do little gigs like literally like DoorDash or Uber or bartending gigs and
Got
things
it.
like that just to kind of pay me. Yeah, just because my bills are so low, I'm not really in
Okay.
a situation where I'm in dire need, but I want to go ahead and get a business started so I don't have to rely on those gigs anymore, I guess.
Oh, I'm all about it. All right, got it.
I'm sure everybody understands.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right. So here's where I'm coming from. You don't need a job, but you need a source of income. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like right now I don't understand if I need to go get a full-time job to be able to start leasing apartments.
Why do you believe currently that you would need to go get a full time job?
I
Because
don't
I'm
know
pretty
because
sure
I
I
just
never
I
said
the
that.
only time I've mhm.
Why do you think you need to? Who said that?
I guess I was just under the impression that, when you go to sign a lease, they're like, they want to make sure that you have income coming in. Like, if you, I don't know. I've never signed a lease by myself, to be honest.
Got it.
It was always with my mom in college, like, as like she was the co-signer, so I didn't
Got it.
really, it wasn't me by myself.
Got it. Now this is starting to take shape and make a whole bunch of sense. Now, there's an
Okay.
operative word in what you just said that makes a ton of sense and that a lot of people who are listening right now are going to learn a lot from. It's the word assume, right? It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's what we assume and then become confident of without ever actually having research that can sometimes shipwreck us. Here's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Because in the same way that you're like, man, I'm income challenged, there are people who are credit challenged. They're like, man, no one's going to rent to me because I have this, right? Which is okay. That's just a fact. That's there, and it's also irrelevant. Here's why, and it's going to sound like I'm going all the way around, but I'm trying to make sure you get the concept as well, and so that you can carry it forward, so that the next time you hit an obstacle, you'll be able to deal with it. At the end of the day, let's pretend for a second, Morgan, that you went to the emergency room, your arm was like literally bleeding, gushing blood, okay? And you needed assistance. The only doctor there, or the only one there in a lab coat, is willing to assist you. Do you ask that doctor or ask that person if they got what grade they got in biology?
No.
Do you care at that moment?
Absolutely.
But
No.
okay, do you care what their credit score is at that moment?
No.
Do you care how much money they have in the bank at that moment,
No.
or their salary, or where they went to
No.
school? Does any of that matter? No.
No.
At that moment, the only thing that matters is that you believe he or she can solve your problem, correct?
Right. Absolutely.
So your job is to understand the problem for the customer. So your customer, in this case, when you're talking about leasing a property, is a landlord. What is the problem that landlords face?
They have a vacancy they need to fill.
Correct. Vacancy is a problem. It's their greatest expense. And what is yours? What solution are you offering as vacant as to their vacancy issue?
To fill the vacancy.
Yeah.
Take on the lead.
You absolutely are. So what matters is, can you solve their problem? Do you know how to? I didn't ask you if you had done it. I said, do you know how to?
Yes.
Excellent. Understand, and when you can keep the conversation right there, that's what matters. Now that we're there, they may ask for capacity, because that's what we're talking about. They want to know that you have the capacity to actually solve it. It's one thing to say it. Can you prove to me that you have the capacity to do so? This is where, and again, it's not all the time, but this is where they may ask for some sort of either verification of either an income or a big stack of cash stored somewhere that can be deployed in order to make this happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you got now the question is which do you have? You're admitting I don't have a stream of income, but at the same time you're saying I have a pot of cash and I know that I can raise capital to have an even bigger pot of cash if need be. So let's see, you're in North Carolina. What is, and again, I just don't know what I don't know. What is a 1-bedroom rent out there? 800, 900?
Yeah, about 900 to 1,000. I said a band.
Okay, so now let's pretend for a second you had, I'm making up numbers, but let's pretend you had $50,000 sitting in the bank and you're sitting in front of a landlord and saying, hey, Mr. Landlord, I would like a lease for 12 months. I have $50,000 currently sitting in the bank, and here's what I intend to do with the property. Now, does 1 year of rent, is that more or less than $50,000 in this case?
Less.
Do you see where I'm coming from now?
Yeah.
So
this makes so much sense. Thank you for breaking it down. I don't know why I didn't think of it that way.
You didn't think of it that way because it's a different.
People weren't going to want to work with a newbie real estate investor or something. Why would it's a limiting belief situation. I get what you're saying though.
100%. You're not the only one who has this type of limiting thing that is in their way that they can't see, but because they can't see it, you couldn't see a way around it at all until you stop, until someone guides you through a process and then helps you through that process. And this is literally what I do, right? Is to help people see their way around some of the things that feel like roadblocks. And now for you, that roadblock has been removed, and you'll encounter another one, and that's okay. What matters is that as you continue to become a bigger, better version of you, how you choose to respond to that.
So from what it sounds like, you said I need to go get on this Capital Creators course pretty much, because I'm not going to lie, I kind of skimmed through it. I didn't really take it as seriously as I did the blueprint and the mastermind. So I guess if I just go through that, I'll kind of increase my knowledge on how to go after, once I find that deal, how to get the funds.
Yeah, but basically what Capital Creators will lay out for you is it'll introduce you to the concept of raising capital. It'll introduce you to the problem that you're solving for investors when you're raising capital. It'll then help you understand things like the deal structures and give you a system, a marketing system, for lack of a better way of putting it, of how to make sure that you constantly have a flow of investors, so that when a opportunity presents itself, you have access to enough capital to make it happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate that.
If you like information like this, go ahead and hit that like button, because that tells YouTube that more entrepreneurs see us, and definitely hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that the next time we publish more quality content like this, you can be a part. Thanks.